Hello people, I want to show how you can work with keyboard shortcuts in React. I've been working on this for some time and it's a good idea to share. I'm starting with this focusing show off empty folder, and it kind of hints what will be the content of future material, but for now let's focus on keyboard shortcuts. Let's start. I'm invoking a snippet that I have for a component and populating component 1 and component 2 files that I created. Then let's swap all the occurrences of name for appropriate component, each respectively. The focus component will hold these two components, and we are basically setting up the future content of focusing. But in this video, the most relevant component will be component 1. Now that names are populated, we made a style so we can actually see what's happening. And this styled component is very obvious, red and yellow can't be more obvious. Our app file is empty or full of comments, so it's like a basic create React app from the beginning. Let's rearrange our windows. Here you can see some useful shortcuts, and here we have our components, component 1 and component 2. Well, we want to split them for some reason. I want to show how to split. One is on the left and one is on the right, so let's make a quick layout component split X. It will utilize gradient. Here I want to use space between or space around, but I'm not sure about the syntax, so whenever this happens you can check the syntax directly in the browser and type the CSS with better autocomplete than what styled components offer. Still, we have no focusing for our components, and focusing is necessary in order to be able to use shortcuts. When you set tab index for your component or your element, then you are able to focus. So as I said, with tab index you can focus, and with focus you can use on key down, otherwise the key down simply does not trigger. It's very easy to forget this. Excuse not zooming the debug and web page. Here I fixed this. Now the tab is working, focusing is working, as we can see with yellow and red. And let's route our key press. For start, let's simply console log modification buttons and a key press. Let's standardize a type that we will use for key press, since we don't want to guess what is the structure. And let's utilize some modern TypeScript. You can construct types from arrays, and arrays you can iterate in runtime, so it's good. Here are our mods, and here is mod record, which is basically record of. Now I'm struggling to think why should I put this partial or not. Well, we don't want to pollute our types, so let's keep it not partial. And then during the creation of mod record, let's discuss if the fields can be optional or not. Yes, they can be, so we set mr to be partial and cast any undefined to boolean. Then we want a type for press record that includes a keystroke, and we want to construct this. So let's utilize previously made mod record. Let's spread a mod record, but to create this mod record we need to access the fields of our press record. So let's destruct argument of press record and pass the arguments appropriately. Key is using the shortcut for property naming convention. Now let's cast our event to our press record object. So we use our own object. It was not absolutely necessary, but I prefer to use object that I standardized, that doesn't have hundreds of other properties on it. Now here we try to make compiler calm, and I was hoping that using a template for a type will make it calm, but no. It's still struggling. HTML div element is not the same as keyboard event with no element. So what to do? Finally, after some lucky tries, I find that React keyboard event and keyboard event is not the same. So let's use React keyboard event. Now it's calm. After focusing, we see this object of press record. This is good. Now let's make a shortcut. Press record to string is actually a shortcut. And to make this, we can try to... Let's pause here for a second. Alt is optional, Control is optional, Shift is optional. So how to join these optional things into a string? This is the question. And here I'm struggling to think, well, I can use a ternary operator and empty string, but then I want to separate parts of shortcut with a space, but I don't know if I have a previous part. So it's not really the nicest way. So I will completely delete this and start a new. Completely new idea. And this is mapping our mods array, and now we can see why it is useful to construct types from arrays and constants in general, because you can iterate in runtime. So I mapped, the interesting part is here, filter x into x. This is basically any undefined field or false field will be removed, and this is exactly what we want. Now joining with plus and then adding plus, and then I see this error, +a in the debug console. Well, let's split with spaces. It's okay. So little discussion to fix true popping up in shortcut, and here are our shortcuts. This is good. I don't like the arrangement Alt then Shift then Control. It's Control Shift Alt, or maybe called Control Alt Shift. I don't know. Whatever you want. Rearrange in mods and you get this. So string to press record. Well, we want to be able to accept any order of shortcuts as valid specification, any order of modificators as valid specification. How to do this? I will try to construct a regular expression that can match valid strings, because we don't want to accept any kind of string. And here we make a disjunction on words, on modificators. Then I try to use advised approach of composing regular expressions that I explained in this video, but I quickly get frustrated and scrap the idea and simply build a regular expression in the builder and then use the finished regular expression. Of course, when you are focused on building your thing, you may leave these small things for refactor later. I keep building the regular expression, and here we have these match groups. Ctrl-Alt-Shift is first match, and Ctrl-Alt-Shift is second match. Is this correct? Yes, it is correct. So we have Ctrl-Alt-Shift as first and Alt-Shift as second. All 5 are accepted in 2 matches. If I separate Ctrl-Alt, let's make space optional. Space in front, space in the end. And now we have again 2 matches. Looks pretty good. So basically 3 modifiers we allow from 0 to 3, and they are optionally separated by spaces. I am trying to paste my regular expression in string here, as I said, in order to make it composable and reusable, but then I will decide that it is not time to do this and simply copy paste the regular expression build. Now, why we are building this regular expression is to not accept any kind of string. At least we have some idea that string is satisfying some conditions. Still, there can be strings that have double shift or triple control, but let's accept this for now. So here is our matcher. After building the matcher, we execute it on the past string or shortcut. Now if there is no match, throw an error. This is something that we need to fix in development, but in production should not happen. Yes, let's go aggressive with errors. This is good. And simply check for each modifier. Key, how to get key? Well, here I make a wrong assumption that key is the last word, but I said the spaces are optional, so this will result in error. Still, I don't notice this during development, and this will haunt me later. Let's run our TSX file. Ban can do this. Hello to you too. Now let's test our string to PR function. Only modifiers in second example. Good. And the key is the last modifier. We like this. Now let's replace every occurrence of modifier with nothing, remove all modifiers to see what remains. Now we don't have the match anymore. The cast not null assertion is not safe, so remove it and do like this. So the key can result in undefined. This is okay. Let's make binds type and use this binds type to declare our binds. The point of all this is to make declarative programming possible. We declare our keybinds and everything just works. So here are the keybinds. Use keybinds hook, we'll accept keybinds, and everything from there should just work. But for this to happen, we need to struggle now. Let's store our reference in a state, so when reference changes, we trigger the things again, or when reference initiates. Then let's return set ref. And if there is no ref, we cannot exit because we need to respect hooks. So let's use effect, and if there is no reference, exit. But if there is reference, set key listeners, and then try to route. Let's make press record out of our event, and let's make a shortcut out of press record. Now we simply look if we have this shortcut in keybinds, trigger the function. This can be optionally called, new syntax, and there is that. The part that is missing is to actually allow any permutation of modificators. This we will do now. Let's simply log our shortcut. And let's remove provided handling of key press in the component itself. We want the hook to... Now that we bind the hook, we see that actually we log what we expect. Let's make more complicated shortcut. Ctrl-Shift-A. Can we accept string like this? Yes, we can. What is not acceptable? This on the right needs to be a function. Now that it is a function, our shortcut is still not working, and I think it's because I have this Ctrl-A for some other behavior, but I keep forgetting that Shift actually make my key upper stroke. Watch me struggle as I try to find why my keyboard, why my shortcut doesn't trigger. So let's remove Shift, and now it triggers. I want to correct the log, and for now I think I solved the problem, or simply avoid to accept that problem is still there. We will solve it later. Let's check equality of press records. This could help to avoid these problems of not triggering shortcuts because of different permutations of modificators. And then I have the idea. Let's normalize a shortcut. It's simple. We cast PR to string, then PR to and back, and basically it's normalized. We assure that it goes in the order that we provided in modificator list. Now let's normalize binds. This will be an interesting function. Object keys reduce and then normalize each shortcut. Very nice. So much logic in so small space. The beauty of scripting. Let's test this. Since it is so much logic, seems to be working. Ctrl-Shift seems as correct order, not Shift-Control. Good. And then I think I finally remember I should lowercase my key so that Shift doesn't influence the string of the keystroke. Still not working. Still struggling. Shift B. Now I find a suspect. Shift B not working. Okay. Key to lowercase. Now it works. Great. Good. Works again. Let's refactor this. These things should not be placed inside the component. Let's make other file. Because of all the types, I call this file util, but actually it's not util. It should be named according to use keybinds hook. There we go. Add required imports, control dot, and export use keybinds and binds. Import use keybinds is this declarative, use keybinds and pass an object. Looks pretty good. All that is needed is to connect the reference. And there you go, declarative keybinds for your components. See you in the next video that will help us to focus our elements, because focus is allowing us the keybinds. In the next video we will focus elements without mouse, using only keyboard. Something like Vim. See you there.